Hi folks, this is a request video, and I made it. You know, you folks have been watching me for 7-8 years on YouTube, have seen this video 6 or 7 times, but I'm gonna make it again because it's a request video. Okay. And it's Jesus was a Toltec sorcerer. All right. So how did it work? Now in Hindu, you've got the Manu. So the two oldest intact cultures on the planet, of course, are China and India. So you can go by a lot of their stuff for points of reference, especially in Sanskrit text because it's the oldest script language. So now Emmanuel, the Manu, Emmanuel means phonetically, I mean you will. Now it even says in the Bible that basically Jesus' real name was Emmanuel. That's, for those in the know, it's telling the truth, revealing the truth, and for those that don't know, it still leaves that idea that there's something more to it. So, what it is Emmanuel and Jesus were twin brothers in a certain kind of respect. In the respect that Emmanuel, which means phonetically, I mean you will, and also Emmanuel is a mammal. Now the Manu means the mole. So in Hindu, Sanskrit text, you'll see it say the Via Vasvatu Manu, and of course we know Via is the way or life. So the life of, let me just call it God or whatever you want to call it, incarnate in man. Alright, so the Manu is the mode of man, the mode of mankind, not the mode of human. Human means animal man, monster man, color man, or color person, monster person, or animal person. Hue. And the whole goal of Egypt was to eliminate or to control the subservience to the hue part. That's the lower animal nature. The lower animal nature consists of the energy configuration of, this expression would be the lower chakra system. So you've got, you can either call it the 4 lower chakras or the 3 lower chakras, however you want to look at it. So there's one chakra in the middle, that's the pivotal chakra. Alright, so it depends on, you know, that saying goes, choose ye whom you will serve this day. You're going to serve lower animal nature, or you're going to serve, you know, higher principles. Just that simple. And the problem was that under dynamic tension, the lower animal nature took over in man. So, I guess the Jews call it a Messiah, messenger, but I think probably reformer would be the better term that I got from David Livingstone, which I already knew anyway, but still, I'm going to give David Livingstone credit because I give him such a hard time all the time. Anyway, and so Emmanuel was a Toltec sorcerer. Okay, that's why it's from India. And you know, Gene Matlock wrote this book talking about the Hindu origins of the Olmec Empire. And Toltecs, Olmecs, and Aztecs were cumulatively the Zapotecs in the ancient world. And they founded Atlantis, and they founded Egypt. Just that simple. So, Emmanuel dreamed up Jesus using the Toltec dreaming technology. Now you can read the book by Carlos Castaneda called The Art of Dreaming, and it will tell you exactly how it occurred. Okay, you'll be able to figure it out from reading that book how it was done. Alright, so Emmanuel dreamed up Jesus, and Aisu in Sanskrit, Jesus Aisu means reptile. It means serpent. So you got Manu, Emmanuel, which represents the mammalian expression, and then you have Aisu, Jesus, which represents the reptilian expression. Now, up until the time that Jesus was born, or that Jesus was dreamed up by Emmanuel, there was no unconditional love, total unconditional love in the mammalian expression and the reptilian expression in the human genome. Always, no matter what, the lower animal nature would take over. And because the reptilian aspects of us are connected to the demon world, okay, so and that's the reason why the lower astral plane, and it would always take over under the auspices or the energy or the interaction or the tension of some type of conflict. Okay, like how you got a pit bull and you're playing with it and you get to that point of no return, it can't come back. Like that. That's how humans were. You man, animal man, monster man, color man. All right. So, so Jesus had to be born. Okay. And now, one of the incarnations of Jesus was as Zen, the father of Zoroaster, and he was a Zendavesta. And Zoroaster founded, basically, Tibetan Buddhism. So, you hear all these stories about Jesus traveled to Tibet when he was 16. And you even hear stories, from true scholars, real scholars. You hear stories of saying that Jesus was a Buddhist. Of course he was. And so was Emmanuel. And yes, Jesus went to Tibet. As well as Jesus was, as proved by Ralph Ellis, Jesus was the last of the Egyptian pharaohs, headquartered at Tanis, which would make him a member of the Hyksos lineage, which is why you can see that scholars now are tracing the lineages of King David to Egypt, all the way forward to about 30 BCE to Tanis, and saying that basically they're thinking Jesus was there. Okay. Well, I'm telling you that that's what the case was. Okay. All right. So, so everything worked out real good. You had your example, the mole. But it's like people they worship stuff and stuff like that, and it's just really ridiculous. It's a waste of time. The stuff that Jesus did, for instance, Jesus was heir to the throne of Persia, Rome, and Egypt all at the exact same time, simultaneously. So he was basically heir to the throne of the entire known world. And that was the big problem, see. And so, during his incarnation, he also was an armed warrior. He was a member of the Essenes. He was a Nazarene, which means testicle tosser, because at a certain point he was castrated. They cut his dick off. He was a Gnostic, which means a person of knowledge, which is Toltec. And he was an armed warrior with the highly trained mercenaries on the planet, 6,000 of them. So he's basically invincible, unstoppable. What happened was he had a wife and kids, and he criticized the Sanhedrin, which was like these evil Jewish motherfuckers who were just evil magicians, like an aspect of what's called the Menashe. And by criticizing him, it didn't really put his life in danger, because they really couldn't kill him because he was a dreamed up double. They could think they could, but they really couldn't. But what it did, though, is it put his family's life in danger, because they captured him. So they told him, you got to step off, back the fuck down, and then we'll let them go. And they did let them go, and they went to the south of France and started the Merovingian dynasty in the south of France in Avignon. And then Jesus went to Japan, to a Shinto monastery in Japan, actually. That's where he died, about a little over like 105 years old, but he really didn't die. But let's just call it that for the sake of argument for this video. And then Emmanuel went to the Kashmir, and he died about the exact same age as Jesus did. And they still both frequent the Himalayas to this day. You probably heard these stories from the books by Barrett T. Spalding of them helping out people and saving their lives and stuff like that. That's all true. So anyway, video's over, but I'm sure you guys will have more questions or whatever. Anyway, that's a request video. That's it in a nutshell. There you go.